Well, good afternoon, early evening, everybody. Welcome to our January 9th first City Council meeting of the year. I want to welcome everybody. I want to also mention that I believe today, Linda, isn't it National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day? So I want to just let everybody know that. And we have a lot of our first responders need to be recognized for the work that they do, and they're on duty and respond 365 days a year. So thank all of them for their work. We'll call our meeting to order, and we'll ask the clerk to please take roll.
County.
Here.
Boson.
Here.
Voss.
Here.
Shoemaker.
Here.
Westergaard. Here. Mandelbaum.
Here.
Gatto.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. We have a quick item I. And every year this time, I appoint a council member to be our mayor pro tem. And this year, I would like to appoint Councilmember Connie Boson to be our mayor pro tem for 2023.
Do we need to move that now, or do you want to move it?
Do you need a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All right, we got a move in a second. I'll ask everybody to say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and I guess we're going to vote, too.
7 yes.
Well, unanimous.
All right, well, congratulations, Connie. Item 2 is approving the agenda as presented and or as amended.
Move approval.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. Item passes. The next item is approving the consent agenda. Tonight, those are items 3 through 39. Item 32, Councilmember Shoemaker votes no. Item 38A, Councilmember Shoemaker votes no. Item 38B, Councilmember Shoemaker votes no. In item 38D, Councilmember Mandelbaum and Shoemaker both vote no.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Ask everybody to vote, please.
7 yes.
All right. That takes us directly to the hearing items. And our first hearing item is item 40. This evening, just so everybody knows that for the hearing items this evening, we have one vacation hearing, 2 conveyance hearings, 1 license agreement hearing, and 3 zoning hearings, and 4 public improvement hearings. As a reminder, for the zoning items only, those are items 43, 44, and 45. We will hear from the parties in interest first and then from the general public. So the parties in interest are either the applicant or those that have been notified within 250 feet and have received that notification. So after all those parties in interest have commented, we're going to then open it up to the general public. And I will need to say that we don't want anybody to step up before that because that'll be determined as disruptive, and we don't want that to happen. And so we'll just ask that please do not do it, because you will, if you are disruptive, you will not be allowed to speak the rest of the evening. So please wait until we call for the general comments, especially on those zoning items. For the other hearings this evening, any interested person may make germane comments at not to exceed 1 minute per person to a maximum of 5 minutes per hearing unless the hearing is ended either for failure to make germane comments or public comments have ended. As a reminder, on the public improvement hearings, only the comments as to the plans, those specifications, the form of documents, and the engineer's estimate in the low bidder designation will be considered germane. All other comments will not be considered germane. So let's go ahead and get started. Item 40. Item 40 is on a vacation of an undeveloped segment of East Fulton Drive right-of-way located within Stone Park at 2100 Southeast 5th Street, and dedication of such property and a segment of previously vacated East Olinda Avenue lying within Stone Park as parkland. A is the first consideration in the ordinance above, and again, we'll quickly open it up for any public comment regarding this item. Seeing none, could we get a motion?
Seeing none, Mr. Mayor, I'll move item 40, 40A, and pursuant to Rule 42A, move to waive the second and third reading.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. I'll ask everybody to vote.
7 yes.
Next item is item 41 on a conveyance of a permanent easement for building encroachment in the property located east of and adjoining 2035 East Ovid Avenue to Peterson Ventures LLC for $225. Let's open it up for germane comments from the general public. Anybody need to make a comment on this conveyance of permanent easement?
I will move item 41.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Ask everybody to vote.
7 yes.
All right, next item is 42. On 42 is a conveyance of city-owned property to the Neighborhood Finance Corporation for redevelopment of housing. Council Communication number 23-003. Again, let's open it up for germane comments from the general public. Anybody need to make comment here? I see one.
I don't have a specific comment, but I'm Stephanie Murphy with Neighborhood Finance Corporation, and I just wanted to let you know I was here if you have any questions, and I wanted to say thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for her? Thank you.
I'll move item 42, Your Honor.
Item 42 has been moved and seconded. Anybody
7
vote?
yes.
Moves us to item 43. Item 43 is on a request from Kary Dunn, who's the owner, to amend PlanDSM, creating our tomorrow plan to revise the future land use classification for property located at 810 East Euclid Avenue from low-density residential within a community node to community mixed use within a community node, and to rezone the property from N5 residential district to limited MX3 mixed use district to allow the expansion of the parking lot to the east, which is Git-N-Go. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above. B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and again requires 6 votes. First, we'll hear from the parties in interest. Again, those are either that applicant or anybody living within 250 feet of the property to be rezoned, but we'll ask the applicant if they are here to step up first. Is the applicant in the room? If not, any parties in interest?
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, council members.
All right, so we have 2? All right, very good.
Thomas Morper, representing Git-N-Go convenience stores. Our interest lies in the purchase of the property after the rezoning. 2716 Indianola Ave, Des Moines. I'm just here to make a statement in regards to our intentions that have gone through P&Z, obviously fully unanimous consent. Do we have an opportunity to show any exhibits?
Is that it? Here?
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Can we
Turn it the other way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is the property in reference 810 East Euclid, directly west of our property at 816. That we're on the intersection of Euclid and Wright Street. Kary Dunn currently owns the property. Briefly, he was addressed by the city in regards to a nuisance issue that he's going to have to remove the property. A little hard to see there, but the property in green is the residence or the property that we're referencing now. And by that green designation, it is on the schedule to be demolished at his cost. And he approached me in a request to purchase the property. It's to relieve him of cost that he will incur directly by the removal of the property and then the all future maintenance of property. I have just one more exhibit. That's from our pre-app planning and zoning meeting, where I had 37 invitees with just one that attended, and that was Mr. Jerome Reed at 3610 Wright Street, which is directly north, adjacent property to us. He was all in favor of it, no complaints. Again, he was the only attendant at the pre-app meeting. So, in an attempt to revitalize our neighborhood and the location, we just want to buy the property, get it torn down because it's a nuisance for not only the neighborhood, but us as well. There's nocturnal animals that reside there, and we've done quite a bit to try to prevent any congregation of people around the store. We put up an 8-foot, 6.5-foot security fence to restrain people from going around the back of the properties and doing what we can in an effort to keep the neighborhood beautiful. Thank you.
All right.
The grey letters here indicating...
That was me. Any questions?
Don't see any, but hang out just
Yeah.
in case something comes up. Anyone else, parties in interest, notified? Any comment from the general public? Any comments? Seeing none? Council?
I do have some comments, and I spoke to you on the phone.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I sent to you late this afternoon the police calls. The concern, and I know that this is a request for change in zoning, so this doesn't have anything to do with the complaints. But I feel, and the neighborhood feels, that before we grant you permission to buy this house and tear it down, which we all agree would be an improvement, we would like to be able to have some conversations with Git-N-Go. The neighbors have repeatedly called Git-N-Go. Their phone calls are just dismissed. The police, I pulled the reports. We have double the number of police calls to the Git-N-Go than other like-type businesses in the area. So it is a detriment to the neighborhood when we have that many police calls and that many robberies. One of the issues is in the summertime, whoever is at the store, there's some partying going on, there's loud. The neighbors tell me that it's so loud that their windows rattle from the high music that's being played. Can you please try to be a good neighbor and have some conversations about what we can do to make the relationship with the neighborhood and the Git-N-Go better? I don't understand why they're dismissed. Mr. Lowe was on your list, and
Correct.
he has made multiple calls. And he lives, you know, a fair distance away, but he'll call me and say, it's so loud, I can't, my windows are rattling. And nobody wants to be responsible to that.
I'm sorry, I put one back.
So, I'm in favor of tearing down the house, I get that, but I'm not willing to waive the second and third reading until I see that there's been some action with Git-N-Go in the neighborhood, myself, whoever that wants to be. I was not made aware of any neighborhood meeting, and I represent that ward. I called a couple of the people that I know because they've called me with complaints. They said they too did not receive it. Now, I know it just comes in a little postcard. They might not have known what it was. It might have gotten thrown away. But I get it that you only had one person attend. I would have been there had I known it, but no one reached out to me.
In a rebuttal, Mrs. Westergaard, all I can do is discuss what I am aware of in regards to incidents that have been addressed by the City of Des Moines Police Department. And we have one incident on record in March of 22, where one gentleman was taken away. Now, what he was charged with, I don't have that information. And my only rebuttal to the complaint that was stated in your email was, I'm sorry, who was that gentleman again? Refresh my memory.
Well, I know of one person, but I know that there have been others. I've been to neighborhood meetings where this is talked about.
Yeah, Mr. Lowe, if you look at the exhibit, he is substantially far away.
He is.
And I can't argue with him. I'm not here to argue. I'm just here to try to disclose that the immediate adjoining properties are in favor of, without any complaints to us on an internal way or anything from that major. So that's the only rebuttal that I can have against Mr. Lowe's statement. I can say maybe he doesn't even know where the noise is stemming from. There is another establishment across the street that sells liquor now.
Yep, it's not coming from there. These have been coming up. And, you've had several robberies there. Is there somebody from Git-N-Go here that can address it?
The Mr. Lowe comment?
About,
Well, I can address the simple act of robberies, and the congregation of people cannot be controlled by me or any establishment. We have an ATEX security program that we've used for 30 years at every store. We have cameras, exterior, interior. We do our best for all of our properties that are immediately adjoining to any property that we have. Store 23 down on 30th and I can't recall. What is that? Hickman, yes. Both adjoining properties, we redid their driveways free of their charge, just in an effort to stay neighborly. Store number 3 was recently done. We purchased the adjoining property directly west of that.
I get that, but is there somebody from Git-N-Go that can address the issues and are willing to listen to the neighbors and do what we can? I know that you only have one person on duty at night, and I think that, may attract.
My only argument to that would be a national report from convenience stores that will argue that having more than one employee doesn't deter robbery or theft.
I don't know. I know that they're getting robbed more.
I guess that would be my question. You do only have one employee that works typically in the evening at all the Git-N-Gos.
Typically, not all of them, but that partly, Councilman Gatto, involves the labor force. It's not easy to find people the way it is.
So is this open 24/7?
No. In fact, we have reduced our hours
Yeah.
at all of our stores to be basically 6 a.m. to midnight.
Okay.
And when did that happen?
Oh, back shortly after the COVID it was.
But you've always, even before COVID or before any shortage of any worker, you've always only had one, I believe, employee.
Most generally at those hours, yes.
That's kind of been the standard
Correct.
for Git-N-Go.
Yes.
Well, I'll go ahead and move item 43 and 43A, but I won't waive the second and third until I see that there's been some communication with the neighbors. That's all they're asking for. They're just asking that somebody will at least listen to them when they call.
I'll second. Is there a way that
Let's get a meeting
maybe
set
Get
up.
it back on the agenda for 2 weeks?
get a
or-
meeting set up with
Yeah.
the Councilmember Westergaard and the
Yeah.
neighbors would
You-
probably be beneficial before our next council meeting?
I would
You've
suggest
got
that
my
would be a good
information.
alternative, so you can find out
We've been
exactly
emailing.
you can do, but the house coming down would be an improvement to the neighborhood.
Well, the house is coming down, whether it be
Right,
at
one way or
Mr.
the
Dunn's
other.
cost or, and then cost to maintain
Right,
the lot or
sure.
ours, so.
And you're
If
expanding
we
the
have to have it
parking lot.
Is there a
rezoned,
neighborhood meeting between now and then, Linda?
In February. They've canceled their January meeting, but it's February 7th.
So it wouldn't be before the next council meeting.
So is there any way you can
But we
get
can
some people
pull-
together, pull some
we
people?
can-
if we
pull
could
together.
get these complaints that you're receiving, and then
Yeah.
you and I pool our resources
Yeah,
and
we can get a meeting put together.
get resolved what we can, again, I don't know that I can control the civil disobedience that goes out.
All right, with that agreement that you're going to meet and try to work this out,
Absolutely.
let's,
We'll pull something together with the neighbors.
and see where we are at our
Thanks.
next meeting.
Thank you, folks.
23rd.
7 yes.
Okay, takes us to item 44. Item 44 is on a request from the Neighborhood Development Corp., Abby Gilroy is the officer, to amend PlanDSM, creating our tomorrow plan to revise the future land use classification for the northernmost portion of the property located at 2211 University Avenue from low, medium-density residential within a neighborhood node to neighborhood mixed use within a neighborhood node, and to rezone property from RX2 mixed use district to MX2 mixed use district to allow redevelopment of a site with a new 3-story mixed use building using the storefront building type. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above. B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by Mike Ludwig, our interim development services director, and requires 6 votes. So first, again, let's hear from the applicant and other parties in interest, and it looks like the applicant is standing right up.
Good evening, Shane Devick with CEC 2486th Street in Urbandale, representing this rezoning. This rezoning has come up, it's been staff recommended since our initiation of the project during the pre-application meeting. The uses are about the same that we can put on that property. If we rezone to this, we are lining up our setbacks with the property directly to our west. We'll continue on. So that's mostly the reasoning for it. So we continue the zoning going and to line the buildings up. We did have a neighborhood meeting. No opposition to the rezoning. We have been to planning and zoning, obviously. So I haven't heard any sort of opposition to this zoning from anybody.
All right, council, any questions? Seeing none at the moment, stay available in case something comes up.
I'll be right here.
All right, any other parties in interest? Seeing none, let's open up for germane comments from our general public. Anybody want to make comment from the general public on this item?
Seeing none, I'll just say I'm excited about this project, getting more buildings up to sidewalk level, getting some housing put in where there previously wasn't. Very excited to see this moving forward, so I'll move 44, 44A and 44B.
I'll second.
Right, been moved and seconded. Ask everybody to vote.
7 yes.
Item 45 is a request from Eastgate Plaza LLC. Norman S. Weinstein is the officer for review and approval of an 8th amendment to the Eastgate Plaza PUD conceptual plan to allow the redevelopment of the property at 1514 East Euclid Avenue with a car wash use. First, we'll ask if the applicant or any parties in interest are here. Is the applicant here? No. Seeing not, any parties in interest who may be within 250 feet. Are you one of those?
I am not, but I am in interest. I'm the civil engineer that is designing the proposed site. So if you have any questions.
You're representing the applicant then?
I am representing the end user and working with the applicant.
Okay. Any questions for this gentleman here for around a car wash?
No.
All right. Seeing no other comments, we'll ask if there's anybody from the general public who would like to make comment on this.
Hey, I'm Bridget Botkin, and I live in Ward 2. I live right around the corner from where this car wash, I believe, is going to be going up. And I realize that while I can't stop the development of this property, I think we should be throwing everything we have at things that get cars off the road and don't accommodate to car culture. We should be funding DART instead of catering to development for car. And there are a ton of car washes along Euclid already. We don't need another one. That could be a community garden or something. There's so many things it could be. It shouldn't be that though. Thank you.
Anyone else?
With that, I'll move item 45.
Second.
Second or third, no.
7 yes.
Item 46 is on approval of a license agreement with Waterbury Neighborhood Association in a portion of Ingersoll Avenue right-of-way located west of Polk Boulevard, adjoining 600 Polk Boulevard and 601 48th Street for $1,000. Let's open up general public and see if there's any comments regarding this agreement with the Waterbury Neighborhood Association in Ingersoll Avenue right-of-way.
Seeing none, Mr. Mayor, I'll move item 46.
Second.
All right, 46 has been moved and seconded.
7 yes.
Item 47. And 47 is on the 2023 traffic signal replacement contract. 1, resolution approving plan specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, receive and file bids, and designating the lowest responsible bidder is Iowa Signal, Inc. Wayne Lesley is the president. $854,230.39. Council communication number 23-016. Item A under that is approval of the contract and bond and permission to sublet. We'll ask if there's any general public comment on the plan specifications, form of the documents, the engineer's estimate, or the low bidder designation. Any comments? Seeing none?
Hearing none? Oh, sorry.
Move item 47.
Yes. 47A, yes.
47 and 47A.
Yes.
47 and 47A.
There's a move.
Did you move it, Carl? Because I'll second.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, voting's in process.
7 yes.
Item 48. Item 48 is on the East Court Avenue reconstruction from Des Moines River to East 7th Street. Resolution approving the plan specifications, form of contract documents, the engineer's estimate, receive and file the bids, and designating the lowest responsible bidder as Jasper Construction Services, Inc. Cliff Rhoads is the president. $893,459. Council communication number 23-015. A is approval of the contract and bond and permission to sublet. And again, we'll ask if there's any general comments to be made regarding the plan specifications, form of documents, the engineer's estimate, or the low bidder designation. Anyone?
Seeing none, Mr. Mayor, I'll move item 48 and 48A.
Second.
48 and 48A been moved and seconded.
7 yes.
All right, takes us to item 49, which is on the Stone Park Community Garden Resolution approving the plan, specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, receive and file bids, and designating the lowest responsible bidder is Burkett Construction LLC. Andrew Burkett is the owner. $518,897.98. Council Communication Number 23-019 is approval of the contract and bond and permission to sublet. And again, we'll ask for any general comments regarding the plans, the specifications, form of the documents, the engineer's estimate, or the low bidder designation. Anyone?
I see none, Your Honor. This is a great project for that area. I'll move 49A.
A second.
Been moved and seconded.
7 yes.
Item 50. Item 50 is on the Southwest 11th Street from West M.L. King Junior Parkway to the Dartway improvements. Resolution approving the plan, specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, receive and file bids, and designating the lowest responsible bidder as Jasper Construction Services, Inc. Cliff Rhoads is the president, $243,119.50. Council Communication Number 23-020. A is approve of the contract of the bond and permission to sublet. Again, we'll ask for any general comments regarding the plan, specifications, form of documents, engineer's estimate, or the low bidder designation. Anyone to comment on those? Seeing none?
Seeing none, Mr. Mayor, I'll move item 50 and 50A.
Second. Right, 50 and 50A have been moved and seconded.
7 yes.
All right, let's, it's 5:35. That completes our hearings. That moves us directly to item 51. Item 51 is amending Chapter 114 of the Municipal Code regarding traffic regulation changes as follows. A is a code modification related to new streets built as part of Grover Woods Plat 2 development near Hubble Avenue and East 44th Street. B is a code modification related to new streets built as part of the Woods at Copper Creek Plat 6 development between East Sheridan Avenue to the north and Wisconsin Avenue to the south. C are code modifications related to new streets built as part of the Woodbury Plat 1 development near east and east of East 56th Street, west of US Highway 65, and south of Douglas Avenue. D is code modifications related to new streets built as part of the Woods on River Plat 2 development, including Grand River Drive and River Ridge Road. E is a traffic control change at Southeast 15th Court and Shaw Street. F is a parking modification East 39th Street from Easton Boulevard to Mattern Avenue. G is a corner clearance parking restrictions. One is Bowdoin Street and East Douglas Avenue. 2 is Bowdoin Street and East Madison Avenue. 3 is Columbia Street and East Douglas Avenue. 4 is East Douglas Avenue and East 14th Street. And 5 is East Thornton Avenue and Southeast 1st Street. And I think that's it. Council, any comments?
No, I will move item 51, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on G.
All right.
You want to waive the second and third?
I'll waive the second and third. I didn't see that it had that.
Pursuant to
Yes.
Rule 42A?
Yes, pursuant to waiver of Rule 42A. Thanks, Joe.
All right, it's been moved and seconded.
7 yes.
Item 52 is amending Section 2-1176 related to the creation, composition, and appointment of members of the Youth Advisory Board.
I'll move 52 if there are no comments.
Second.
And pursuant to Rule 42A, waive second, third reading.
Been moved and seconded.
7 yes.
Item 53 is review of the Zoning Board of Adjustment decision conditionally granting a use variance to allow the use of the property at 1626 East Park Avenue for a vehicle maintenance repair minor use in an N3A neighborhood district. Choose one alternative, either A, B, or C. Council Communication Number 23-028. A is the City Council remands the decision and order to the Zoning Board of Adjustment for further study. The effective date of the board's decision will be deferred for 30 days from the date of this remand. Or B, the City Council takes no action to review the decision and the order, and the decision of the board will become final on January 29th of 2023. Or C, the City Council declines to remand the decision to the Zoning Board of Adjustment. The decision of the board becomes final on this date. Any thoughts, council?
Your Honor, this gentleman was basically grandfathered in. He's did this for years in this location. He's been in front of us. He went to the Board of Adjustment. They unanimously gave him approval. He keeps a very clean property. There's never been any complaints in the 9 years that I've been on the council. So I will move 53C.
Second.
All right, 53C has been moved and seconded.
7 yes.
That completes that part of the council agenda. We're going to now move to our communications and reports from our citizens as part of the speaking items for the persons wishing to speak this evening. Under the public speaking item in the agenda, we will be calling only on those who have registered to speak. All speakers must comply with the rules regarding their names and their addresses, or they will not be recognized to speak. Each of the 4 speakers this evening will receive up to 2 minutes each to make their comments. Please keep your own time, because at the end of the 2 minutes, the clerk will announce time, and the speaker's mic will be closed, and we will immediately move to the next speaker. We want to hear from our residents, and we encourage the residents to be respectful of each other's viewpoints that may be different from their own. But let's go ahead and get started. And our first speaker this evening is Jolene Prescott.
My name is Jolene Prescott, and I live at 3013 3rd Street. Now, that is down in Highland Park's Little Boot, and that is very, very close to our Riverview stage over there. And I want to read you what I wrote on Linda Westergaard's website here about a couple weeks ago. Please keep in mind, Riverview is an open-air venue. I live 4 blocks from the stage. My grandchildren live 2 blocks from the stage. When children are present, we have an obligation to show responsibility. Personally, I feel that profanity has no place over loudspeakers at Riverview Stage or any other stage near residential areas where young children might be exposed, whether that be a hip-hop group, a stand-up comedian, a country band, or whatever. Does using profanity in the presence of children show responsibility? Is this a racial issue or a behavioral issue concerning the use of profanity? All groups that perform at Riverview need to be cognizant of their audience, both inside the park and outside their park, and show responsibility to those audiences. I do not want to have F-bombs coming through my bedroom window this summer. I think what we need to do is any groups that perform at our stages here need to have a clause in their contract, need to have an anti-profanity clause in those contracts where they can be shut down. And there seemed to be a concern about hip-hop. Well, if you look at if you Google percentage of profanity in hip-hop, you're going to get a study by Music Match. Hip-hop had 1 profanity out of every 47 words, and the others were far behind. Thank you.
Next speaker is Bridget Botkin.
Hi, I am Bridget Botkin. I just wanted to address some of the recent comments that my city councilor Linda has made about hip hop. When she says she doesn't think that hip hop is appropriate or family friendly, what she's really saying is that she doesn't think Black people should feel welcome or comfortable in shared public spaces. Hip hop is intrinsically linked with poverty culture. It came into being because in the 1980s, it happened to be cheaper to record a song on a tape deck, make a beat, and talk over it than it was to buy a musical instrument. A saxophone is hundreds of dollars. It is so much easier to come up with music on a street corner, and that is what hip hop is. It's a reaction to people being so impoverished that they might not be able to afford the instruments that they want, and that inequity has only gotten deeper today. Beyond that, hip hop is merely a modern chapter of a story that is 400 years old and counting, the oral tradition of Black people documenting their struggles to survive in America. And if she really doesn't want to hear about it, then maybe she should do something on a local scale to address the conditions that make them so angry in the first place. Defund DMPD. Also, Linda doesn't care about children because if she did, she would advocate for lead testing in homes, despite the fact that it makes her job as a real estate agent harder. I believe she said it's okay because kids are already required to be tested in school, but I'm pretty sure that once the lead is already in their bodies, it's too late. Thank you.
Next speaker is Adam Callanan.
Hi, my name is Adam Callanan. I use he, him pronouns, and I live in Ward 3. The City of Des Moines and Polk County have been using public officials for leverage in private meetings to discriminate against Black artists. While I'm talking about allegations against Councilmember Westergaard because I'm at a City Council meeting, others outside of City Council were at the meeting as well. While Westergaard was alone representing the city in these meetings, all of council is responsible because she was representing the city. Her position to represent the city is at the discretion of council, and because any discrimination at all, especially in public parks, is an issue that the city is responsible for. Last meeting, when I talked about these allegations against Westergaard, I was sorry, lost my place here. When I brought up this issue, Councilmember Westergaard laughed and interrupted my comments by blaming Councilmember Shoemaker, the only Black council member, implying that my comments were somehow orchestrated by her, as if anybody speaking out against racism must be a conspiracy by Shoemaker. Then after my comments, Westergaard shouted at me that I didn't have the facts. In response, I'd like to name what some of my facts are. One is that the accuser was pressured to resign. Westergaard confirmed this publicly on Facebook, that the accuser was asked to resign by the Parks Area Foundation. There's been no explanation for the pressured resignation other than the accuser's account that I'm aware of publicly from Westergaard or anyone else. Also, the fact that there were no hip-hop acts at this year's Rendezvous at Riverview, and no Riverview Music Festival that was majority hip-hop. While Westergaard claims the accusation is simply not true to the media, she actually confirmed many of the elements of the accusation in the stories, publicly repeating that the music in question is vulgar and adding the racist hyperbole that during a previous performance review, every other word was apparently F-bombs. Also, while the meeting in question was private and we don't have a recording of it, Westergaard often makes racist comments in these public meetings, including voting against the interests of Black residents. The Black home ownership gap in Des Moines is around 50%. That means a disproportionate rate of Black residents rent rather than own their homes. So issues like testing lead service lines for rental units disproportionately impacts Black residents. Westergaard and others have sought to resolve this matter of public racism privately. It needs to be resolved publicly.
Mr. Mayor, can I just make one comment, please? And that is, no, okay,
Let's move ahead.
okay.
Carolyn? Yulin Hickey Walker.
Yulin Hake Walker. Carolyn Yulin Hake Walker. I can't speak with the mask. 4111 Ingersoll Avenue, apartment 1110. Right, but I want to read a story, an allegory. So I'm going to talk. I'm a teacher. I can talk quite loudly. Okay. My teacher voice. One day when Henny Penny was scratching among the leaves, an acorn fell out of the tree and struck her on the head. Goodness gracious me, said Henny Penny, the sky is falling. I must go and tell the king. So she went along and found Cocky Locky. Cock-a-doodle-doo, where are you going, Henny Penny? Oh, said Henny Penny, the sky is falling and I'm going to tell the king. May I go with you, Henny Penny? Oh, yes, indeed. Soon they met Ducky Lucky. Quack, 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 where are you going, Henny Penny and Cocky Locky? Asked Ducky Lucky. Oh, we're going to tell the king the sky is falling. May I go with you? Ducky Lucky said. Oh, yes, indeed, said Henny Penny. Then they picked up Goosey Lucy and Turkey Lurkey, but then they met Foxy Loxy. Where are you going, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy, and Turkey Lurkey? Oh, we're going to tell the king the sky is falling, said Henny Penny. Aha, said Foxy Loxy, but this isn't the way to the king. Come with me. They went along until they reached Foxy Loxy's cave. In all, they went after Foxy Loxy. From that day to this, Turkey Lurkey, Goosey Lucy, Tucky Lucky, Cocky Lucky, and Henny Penny have never been seen again. And the king has never been told the sky is falling. You are not kings or queens, but you are our elected officials. I'm telling you, like many, the sky is falling. Our ecosystems on this planet Earth are collapsing, not now, not in the future. You will have an opportunity to see the first draft of our climate action plan called ADAPT in February. Please take it seriously, make it a priority, and find the money. And make sure that the city of Des Moines implements the goals and plans of the Des Moines Climate Action Plan called ADAPT. The sky is falling.
I will move to receive and file 54A through D.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Ask everybody to vote quickly. Mayor Pro Tem.
7 yes.
I want to thank all of our citizens for coming down this evening to listen to our city council meeting and also for your comments. They have been received and filed. And with that, let's...
Motion to adjourn?
Sure. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.